Hi guys, welcome to this yoga fit session for hip strength. Yeah, we all want super strong hips, and we talk a lot about how our hips sometimes feel tight, but actually a lot of the time that tightness is really indicating not that you've overworked that area, but possibly that that's an area of weakness. So I want to show you a few exercises that you can put together and really work on targeting the hips and making them feel a lot stronger. So you're not going to need anything, just yourself, and let's get started. Okay, so first and foremostly, let's get ourselves a little bit warm and a little bit stretched out. So what I'm going to encourage you to start off with is actually a little bit of a balancing move, so feel free to bring a hand onto something. So softness through the knees, you're going to lift up the right leg. You're going to circle that leg out to the side, trying to keep the hips square. Then you're going to lower that leg down and bring it back to the left. We're going to do that again, so lifting, opening out like the page of a book, and then lowering down, bringing back to the center. Just pedal through the feet a little bit. This time we're going to change that movement again. So let me show you first of all, just feel free to have a little bit of movement. We're actually going to lift up. We're going to take the leg out to the side. Again, trying not to move the hips, and that's why I quite like bringing the hands there. You're actually going to tilt the knee a little forwards, and this is going to be really tough not to move the hip too much with it. You want to move the foot out to the side, send that leg back, through and down. So we're going to do a full little circle, but get a little bit of movement where we're kind of almost trying to lift the ankle up. So hips are going to stay as square as possible, so feel free to bring the hands onto the hips. Bring the weight into the left leg, lift that knee, open up like a page of a book. Then you're going to start to lift the ankle a little bit. As you can already see, my body wants to lift. Just stop when there's a bit of resistance, circle that leg back, take it behind, and then back through the center. Just pedal through the feet. We're going to do that once more. So we've done it twice with each of those moves, and then swap over. So lift that leg up, open like a page of a book, start to lift the ankle, circle it round, and lower. Pedal through the feet. Now you might get a little bit of tightness, a little bit of what feels like constriction. You may even get a little bit of clicking and noises that you hear. As long as there's not pain associated with those, and what I mean by pain is actual pain as opposed to a bit of discomfort, then please stop and make sure that you seek some advice from a medical professional. What you want to do is you want to get a little bit of resistance, so you're kind of pushing into that like when you stretch out, but not that pain. So just really listen into your body and make sure that you're not causing your body any harm. So we're going to do the same on the other side. I'm just going to straighten out my yoga mat, and then so we're going to bring this time the weight onto that right foot, and we're going to be lifting up the left, so hands back on the waist. So firstly, just lifting the knee up, opening out like a page of a book, lowering down and coming back to the center. We're going to do that one more time. Lift up, open out, and lower. Come back to the center. So just pedal through the feet. Give the legs and the hips a little wiggle. And then we're going to do that movement again, but this time incorporating that little twist and then bringing up the ankle and trying not to hook the hips up as we do that, which is going to be super tempting. It is for me. I think the ego kicks in and you want to make sure that movement's really big, but actually what we're trying to do is we're trying to do some rotations within the hip joint, and we're trying to kind of help with a little bit of mobility and kind of stretching out that area first of all. So actually kicking away the ego and listening into your body is super important. I'm going to do the same too. Hands onto the hips, lifting up the left knee, opening out like a page of a book, then trying to bring that ankle up with not too much movement in the hips, lowering, taking it back, and then back through the center, placing that foot down, pedal through the feet for a moment, And then let's do that again. So lifting the knee, opening out, lifting the ankle, circling the knee behind, taking that leg down. So you might be able to see from hip to hip that there is a little bit of difference, and there is for me. My left side is definitely a little bit more constricted, a little bit tighter, possibly a little weaker than my right, and that might be because I'm right-handed, and maybe my right side is a little bit more dominant maybe when I'm working out, doing exercises, doing yoga, and even with walking as well. So you may notice some of those differences. So what I now want you to do is take the feet wide, and I want you to take the feet nice and wide and out to the side. We're actually going to go for a motion where we bring the knees over the feet. So you're going to take a breath in, sweep the arms up, bend the knees, breathe out, come back up. We're going to do this a few times over. Just really making sure that as you're doing this, you're bringing the knees out to the side, you're opening up through the hips. Breathe in, lift up. Breathe out, coming back to standing. Breathing in, bending. Breathing out, coming back to standing. We're going to do one more. Breathing in. Breathing out. So pause, bring the feet back in, give the hips a little wiggle, a little bit of movement, a little bit of dancing on the spot. And then let's come into these exercises. Now that probably already felt like you were working on those muscles, and you were for sure. You're going to see that we're going to use some of those sort of similar things throughout our practice today. So first movement, I'm going to come to the side because it's going to be easier to show you this one. We're going to start with the right leg lifting. So begin with feet about hip width distance apart and a little softness, a little bend through the knees. You're going to take your weight over onto the left hip and the left leg a little, just basically shifting over. Not like this, hanging out in the hip, you're just shifting over. So really subtle difference. Well, not such a subtle difference, really subtle move, but quite a big difference. From here, you've got that weight on that left leg, but still softness through the knee. You're going to lift up the right foot and just come onto the toes. And you might even decide to step that leg in to make sure that you're not tilting the hips. From here, you're going to lift it fully up, take it behind you, and you can literally step it back toe by toe, kind of on the tippy toes. And then from here, bring the weight of the body, the torso, forwards a little. And you're just going to take some little lifts behind you. Now, as you're doing this, you want to have a really nice, strong upper body and back leg. So the belly is drawn in towards the spine. And with this back leg, you're squeezing and lifting through the hip, through the glutes, and through the leg. Just a couple more. And then lower that leg back down. Again, give the legs a little bit of wiggles, a little bit of movement, a little shifting from side to side, just helping to just alleviate any of that kind of build up of tension that happens in that area. Again, I'm going to shift my mat a little bit forwards, and then we're going to come onto the other side. So this time we're going to bring our weight and just shift it over towards the right leg, the right hip. And then we're going to start to lift up the left foot. Feel free to step it in a little closer. Hands on the hips. So just check they're not moving. Tiptoe that foot back. Bring the torso forwards. And then you're going to do those little toe taps. Driving up through the glutes, the hips, and the legs here. You're bringing the torso, the belly in towards the spine. And you've still got a soft knee on the right side. Couple more. I'm a little more wobbly on this side. And then lower back down. And again, give the legs a little pedal, a little bit of movement through the hips. Now probably what you can do is you can already feel it kind of in the sides of the glutes and the hips. So that's great if you can. Now what you might decide is to repeat that movement, or we're going to make it a little bit bigger. So this time, coming back onto that left leg, we are going to lift this right leg a little bit higher. Now what that's going to mean is we're going to bring the body forwards more, and we're going to also have a bigger bend through this left knee. So really, really important to bear that in mind. Now this is a bit more balance, so feel free to bring your hands onto a surface, and that might be where you start out with, and then you might progress to, you know, moving yourself further and further away from that balance. So softness through the left knee, start to lift up the right. You're going to tilt the body forwards as you tiptoe that foot back, and this time you're going to take it a little bit further out and a bit more of a bend through this left leg. From here, we're then going to lift that leg up, tilt the body forwards, almost like a little balance. So it's almost like you're a little seesaw. So we're going to lift up and then lower down. Again, drawing the belly into the spine. You're keeping the hips square. And you're really working on using those big, powerful leg muscles, those glute muscles, to hold you there. We're going to do one more. And then come all the way back down and give the legs a little pedal, a little bit of movement through the hips and the legs. Amazing, guys. Breathe. We're going to swap onto the other side. So again, you've got the option. You can do those lower toe taps. You can go for the full leg lifts. And again, feel free to bring your hands onto something for a bit of balance. So this time shifting the weight over to that right side. Nice little bend through the right knee as you start to tiptoe that leg back. Start to tilt the body forwards. So again, we're going to lift up, send the torso forwards, and then lower down. Now this is my wobblier side, evidently, and you might get that, so just really press the toes down, and if you're super wobbly, you can always bring your hands onto a surface just for a bit more balance, because you really want to get maximum benefits out of the posture as opposed to allowing the ego to take over because you just don't want to hold on to something. One more, and then lower down. Give those hips a nice wiggle out. And then from here, we're going to come back into that wide leg position. So you're taking the feet out to the sides and the knees are going to come with them. So from here, we're going to lower down and we're going to come into a bit of what looks a bit like a goddess pose, but really super wide. So we're going to lower down as we lift the arms up. So take a breath in, take a bend at the knees. You're going to pause and hold here. And I want you to draw the belly in, press the feet and the toes down, and really work on squeezing through the glutes as you open up through the hips and the knees. One more breath, and then exhale the arms all the way back down, straighten the legs. We're going to do that 2 more times. So take a breath in, bend at the knees, open out and hold. Draw the belly in, press the toes and the feet down. And then breathing in, breathing out, lowering the arms down, straightening the legs. 1 more to go. Take a breath in, bend at the knees, pause, draw the belly into the spine, press the toes down, press the feet down, open up those knees. 1 more breath in, exhale the arms and the legs straight. Amazing. So again, walk the feet in, give the hips a little wiggle, a little bit of a sway. You could even bring some little circles like you're doing an invisible hula hoop. Just really stretch out through those areas, because sometimes you can get a bit of cramping going on into those areas as well. So the last movement that we're going to do is actually we're going to be working on, again, 2 variations of this one. We're going to bring the leg to the side. So as we bring the leg to the side, we're going to need to allow for a little bit of tilting of the torso to just work with not only our balance, but also with our hip positioning. So you're going to see that I'll lean slightly to the sides, and that's absolutely fine for you to do. We'll work on a low version, and then we'll work on a higher version. So again, the option is going to be exactly the same as when we did the toe taps to the back and the full leg lifts. Same options apply. you can continue with that same one, or you can work on the 2 variations of that posture. So hands onto the waist. We're going to start with lifting the right leg. So weight onto the left, a nice little tiny softness through that knee as you start to work the leg out to the side onto the toe. From here, we're going to just do some little toe lifts. So we're just lifting the leg out to the side. So really press the standing leg into the ground, and you're squeezing through the leg and through the side of the glute here to lift that leg up. Belly is drawn into the spine. Nice strong positioning here. And if it helps, you can even bring the arms out to the side. One more. And then lower all the way back down. Give the legs a little wiggle. Breath, breathe, keep breathing. So let's swap onto the other side. So coming onto the right foot, we're going to be lifting that left foot up. So softness through the right leg as we start to bring the left foot out to the side. Again, we're just going to squeeze through the side of the glute, the side of the leg, and draw that belly into the spine. Feel free to bring the arms out for a little bit of balance. So we're just lifting the foot up slightly. Keep breathing. Keep that strength through the legs, pressing the toes down. One more after this. And lower down. Again, give those legs a little shimmy, a little wiggle, a little bit of movement, some circles, whatever you need to get those hips feeling a little looser after that. And then this is the second variation that we're going to do. So again, option is either to stay with what you were doing, or you can progress it to lifting a little higher. Again, it's going to add a bit more degree of balance into there. So feel free with any of these variations to bring your hand down onto a windowsill or a surface or a chair, something that you have around you. So bring the weight into the left foot. The right leg's going to come out to the side. You're going to tilt the torso a little bit to the side. Now with this one, probably is going to be easier to have the arms wide for balance. So what we're going to do is lift up that leg and take it to as high as you can and lower it down. And we're going to pause and hold it a little bit as we lift it. Then lower it. Belly still drawn into the spine, squeezing through the glute muscles, pressing the foot down of the standing foot. One more. And lower. Wiggle the legs. Now if you're anything like me, you probably felt the legs shaking a little bit there as they're holding you into position, and that's fine as long as you're not tiring too much. That's absolutely fine, as long as you're not falling out of it because you're so tired. Those little wiggles and shakes are actually the muscle fibers kind of handing over responsibility of holding that pose, holding that strength in the posture. It's them kind of like passing the baton at a relay race. That's what those little wiggles and shakes are. It's muscle fibers giving up and handing it over to the next one. So a little scientific fact there for you. So let's bring the weight into the right leg. We're going to do the same with the left leg lifting. So tiptoe that foot out, start to extend the arms, and we're going to do those lifts. So lifting it all the way up, pausing and lowering. Lifting back up, pausing and holding, and lowering down. We've got one more. And lower. Amazing. Give the legs a good old wiggle. Good old bit of movement. Take the legs wide. Take a nice big breath in. Reach the arms up. Breathe out. Sink down. Come down into like a little froggy pose. And you're just going to take the legs and the hips side to side. Just getting into the hips a little bit here. Stretching out a little bit. And then from here, come down onto the knees. And you are all done. So thank you so much for joining me for this Yoga Fit session. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you can, I'm sure you can feel it in the hips. I'm sure you can feel it there. I can too. It's a really great one. And like I said, a lot of that tightness from the hips comes from a weakness. So really, really important, especially as us. As human beings, we're spending more time sitting down, more time at desks where we're not using some of the muscles and the areas that we should do around the hip joints. then it's so important to work on some exercises to specifically target those muscles. So make sure you do this one a couple of times, enjoy it, let me know how you get on, and thanks again for joining me. I'll see you on the next video, guys. Take care, have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye.